My initial reaction to Katie Hill's resignation was relief. I figured she'd hightail it back to California in the dead of night, and that would be an end to it. But no such luck. I should have known she'd make herself into the star in yet another victimization drama. How long she'll linger in the news whining about her abusive husband and predatory Republicans is anybody's guess. So here's my take on her and her troubles, starting with the lurid facts leading up to her resignation. The Office of Congressional Ethics was investigating a complaint that she was romantically involved with a male congressional staffer. She's a switch hitter, so we need to clarify genders. Hill denies the charge. Meanwhile, private photos of her went viral. One shows her seated, naked, brushing a female campaign aide's hair, with the aide seated on the floor between her legs. Another shows the two in pajamas in an overly friendly pose in Hill's kitchen. In another, they're in a romantic embrace, kissing. In still another, Hill, naked again and displaying her now infamous well below the waist swastika tattoo, is toking a bong. She admits she was romantically involved with the youthful aide and that it was a mistake. She's less forthcoming, though, about the bong, which was illegal at the time. Her husband, Kenny Heslop, was apparently in on the fun himself, as hubby makes three. Hill, who up until recently professed to be nuts about Heslop, whom she married in 2010, now never mentions him without throwing in the adjective abusive. She accuses him of publishing the compromising photos as revenge porn. They're divorcing. Those are the facts. Let's clear Heslop out of the way first. Their marriage evidently started to go sour about the time Hill won her congressional seat from California's 25th District, but he denies publishing the pics. His computer was hacked, he says. By the Chinese, by the Russians, we don't know. It's possible, if improbable. The photos are hardly a testament to his own upright character, so why would he publish them himself, unless he calculated they'd damage her more than him? Maybe that was it. Anyway, he's numbskull number 2 in the scandal. We'll leave out numbskull number 3, Hill's campaign aide. She was a naive bit player who has her own set of problems. For one, she claims to have fallen hard for Hill, who dropped her like a hot rock once she hit the congressional big time. My guess is the aide is suffering from Aberdeen syndrome, after Hillary Clinton's former long-term indispensable sidekick, who became awkward to have around and found herself persona non grata overnight. Aberdeen, you'll recall, was left to wander the streets of Manhattan, dejected and alone, in her designer clothes. Hill's critics are calling her stupid and worse. They're mostly in the right, but we can't slight the lady for not mastering the liberal playbook. Our blonde, blue-eyed California surfer girl caught the victimhood wave and proved she knows how to ride it. First, you tearfully acknowledge that you made a mistake and you're so sorry. Next, you pick the victim category or categories most suited to your circumstances. Hill, being female, is a victim on that score alone. Since women are judged differently from men, she's being unfairly persecuted for what a man would pull off with impunity. Yeah, sure. She's also a victim of revenge porn, a victim of unscrupulous Republicans scenting blood in the water, and a victim of the right-wing media, especially the conservative UK tabloid The Daily Mail that broke the story and published the pictures. She's anything, of course, but a victim of her own stupidity. Add in the abusive Heslop as typical of the hateful, vengeful, domineering males who have maltreated our women folk since time immemorial, and you have the cherry atop the sundae. Once your victimhood has thus been established, you enter full attack mode, denouncing your bullying oppressors from news cycle to news cycle until, if you're lucky, the public forgets about whatever transgression you committed and endorses your heroic struggle. She can count on the gutter media for that, as we're seeing. But why bother? Hill has already resigned her congressional seat so as not, she says, to put her constituents through the grief of a prolonged scandal. She could have resigned apologetically, of course, out of personal shame and humiliation, and, as I'd hoped, quietly retired from the public gaze, but the option was evidently not considered. Only Japanese politicians do that, the fools. If it escaped her notice that her victimhood campaign would keep her in everybody's face, not just her constituents, that would square with the self-centered spin on the story so far and her evident lack of respect for all but herself. It's the usual narcissism. Alexandre Dumas, the French playwright whose works usually include a tragic female character, wrote, "The chain of marriage is so heavy that it takes two to bear it, sometimes three." We don't know all the details of Hill's marital situation, thank God, but it's doubtful that they rise to Dumas' level of high drama. Maybe she was seeking solace in the threesome as a palliative for her conjugal discontent. If so, it was apparently working. She appeared to have been enjoying herself memorializing her sexual romps on film, but when you're running for Congress, even as a free-thinking liberal Democrat, you need to exercise a bit of old-fashioned prudence. The woman, after all, is 32 years old, not a gawky 20-something who doesn't know the score, like her lesbian paramour. How could she be so dumb as not to keep control of her material, if it was necessary to produce it in the first place? Standards of decency in the Congress may not be at an all-time high, but the American people retain a semblance of conventional morality. They expect their representatives to do the same. So if Hill is nursing some notion of making a comeback, let's hope she forgets it. Remember Anthony Weiner, the New York congressman and registered sex offender who did a spell in the slammer in Florida for sexting underage girls? After being booted out of Congress, he went right back to his old ways, which is how he earned the prison sentence. But meanwhile, he ran for mayor of New York and made a complete, pathetic fool of himself. And he lost. Hill would do likewise. Her political career is finished, or we certainly hope it is. Time heals all wounds, and it'll heal hers too. It would be better for all of us, though, if it healed them in private. I conclude with this shout-out. Thanks, Katie, for all you've done to promote the Democratic agenda, but we don't need to see you anymore. Adios! And thanks to you for watching. Be sure to click like and subscribe to support the channel, and let me hear from you with your thoughts and ideas. We'll see you back here next time.